ready.
Hello everybody, I'm Dribby and welcome to Final Fantasy Randomizer Part 3. Let's get to it. Okay, so here we go. Got a few enemies up here. That's a bit tricky, but yeah, I kind of went to the left, then to the right, and then straight forward, and I was able to dodge those enemies. That can be real tricky. It's more trying to go to the opposite way of the enemies, but then they'll start to come towards you, and then you have to zigzag the other side to get past the enemy. So here I had to do a setup real quick, and so that's my paragons, and I got some items there. Yeah, that fight was a little bit hard at first, so I had to repair the fight and then set up my paragons, which I am real bad at doing that. Get to dodge a few enemies here. Yeah, a lot of this is, I mean, you can grind if you want to, but as for me, I try to pick my spots. I do have to do some grinding, not too much. Alright, so with this part, you gotta set up the paragons with Saz and Vanille. Now with these fights here, and I do show off every single fight because these fights have to be done in a certain way. All these enemies are attacking each other, and at the beginning here, they won't be focused on you, so you'll have time to do buffs or whatever. If you got anything under synergist with Saz, you can buff yourself. But the goal of these fights really is to aim for those watchstroms first. And then pretty much when you get down to the last watchstrom, you can set focus on to the, God, what is his name? That dude that's in stagger mode right now. I can't think of his name right now, but, you can switch back and forth between the last watchstrom and him. Put the that guy into stagger there, and then focus on the watchstrom, and then focus back on the other guy. But you kind of want to leave I'll see his name here in a second. Pulse work. Yeah, I knew the name, I just forgot it. Pulse work. Once the watchstrom is pretty much at low health, and you can focus on the pulse worker, go send stagger, take out the watchstrom, and then go back to the pulse worker and work on it. And you do want to do this in a typical order. You don't want to leave all three watchstroms alive, because they will come after you.
You got this, Vanille.
But even if you don't kill, or even if you do kill the pulse worker and leave a watchstrom alive, you can still kill the watchstrom very quickly. You got that item there. Activate this switch here. Yeah, these fights can be pretty irritating at first, especially if this is your first time doing this. The same thing here, focus on the strike first. Probably leave one alive. You know, yeah, it doesn't matter what order you do it in, as long as either the pulse worker's down to very, very little health as soon as all the other enemies are gone, or you just kill the pulse worker and leave one of these enemies behind with low health as well. But you know, either or. Like I said, if you just leave one set of enemies alive, like 3 watchstones, then they're gonna kill you instantly. So, okay, I did leave the pulse worker alive. Yeah, you want to switch back and forth between the Ravager and the Commando to the 2 Ravagers.
Yes.
And then you can use Neil's Saboteur to debuff them. You'll have some kind of debuff spell in Randomizer. The one that I have is Daze. What Daze will do, it'll keep the enemy from attacking if it hits, only if it hits. So it'll keep the enemy from attacking, but the moment you attack that enemy, it gets right out of daze. But it can be useful in some situations. If you can daze the enemy and, as soon as they're about to go into the stagger, like the pulse worker here. And when the pulse worker is in stagger anyway, he can't move. So you got the opportunity there.
Watch and learn, kid.
But yeah, use as much debuffs as possible. Like I said, you're gonna get at least one with the randomizer. So here, yeah, we got 3 sets of enemies. We got the Pulse Worker, the Watchdrome, and the Threat. Now you take out the Threats first, and then focus on the Watchdrones. And like I said, at least leave one Watchdrone alive, and then either focus on the Watchdrone itself, or switch over to Pulse. Put the Pulse Worker into a stagger, and then focus on the Watchdrone. Either or. As long as you're taking like very little damage by the time the last enemy is around.
See that coming?
And we get the last Watchdrone. So, okay, I did take care of the Pulse Worker. I think it's the next fight. I believe it is. You're gonna have 2 Pulse Workers. And I think the other ones are either the Rex or the Watchdrone. Get some items there. Yeah, the reason why I fought them is because there is a treasure sphere back here. And we got 3,987 gil.
What?
I've seen some massive gil grabs from a lot of these treasure spheres. In past randos, not in this one. So yeah, okay. The 2 Pulse Workers and the 3 Threats. So you could take out one of the Pulse Workers right now if you wanted to, and then focus on, I'd say, two of the Threats, and then go back to the Pulse Worker. Because this kind of looks easy right now, and the reason being is because my characters are kind of buff right now. Like I said, the stats are randomized, so they seem pretty buff. That's why this looks easy, but if you do it in like the vanilla version, it's actually a little bit harder. And it's just switch between double casting and yeah, switch between roles and you should have it. Yeah, undermine that's the one with Saboteur and Ravager, and usually that's good. Now you'll see me also use a lot of debuffs on enemies, and even though they're not working or they're already debuffed, the reason why I do it is because Saz does not have Commando right now. Now what I was saying about the stagger gauge earlier, how Commando slowed down the stagger gauge, seeing that Saz or Vanille don't have Commando right now, Saboteur will actually slow down the gauge a lot as well.
Than you thought, huh?
So if you see me throwing out debuffs even though they're already out or the enemy won't get them, it's just to slow down the stagger. Alright, so we ran into Hope. We got Hope here. Now we got 3 people. So those random fights with the enemies fighting each other, that's not going to happen anymore. Now we got to deal with birds and Pulse Workers, which both of them are on the same page. Alright, so that's my setup for that one. Charmin Smart. I got a lot of Charmin Smart in this run. If I get too many, I'll probably wind up selling. I haven't sold any yet, but if I need to in the future, I'll probably sell like 1 or 2 because I have been getting a lot of those.
Something up there.
The birds, if you do run into the birds, now they have a chance of debuffing you. they have like a debuff and so on, and it could prevent you from attacking. So at that point, just focus on
Do me a favor. Stop
Vanille
wandering off and
healing
stay where I
you,
can keep my eye on
and then whatever character is, I forgot what it was, but if the other character can't attack or anything like that, then you just gotta wait it out. You gotta wait until it disappears.
Check things out.
But normally it's like a D shell that they use, and with D shell, they can kind of do a little bit more damage to you. So even at there, they'll you can just switch to Vanille. But the thing to prevent you from attacking, I don't think these guys, I believe these guys can do it, but it's more of the other birds later on that you have to worry about. But I do know these guys do have a D shell.
I hope snow's all right.
Alright, so up here we're going to run into lightning now. So now it's going to be Saz, Lightning, and Vanille.
Time to move.
Now up here we do have a boss that we're going to fight, and that's my Paragons right there. Yeah, Smart Bomb. Switch to Smart Bomb. Now up ahead, we still got a little bit of ways to go, but we do got a boss fight coming up. And after we defeat this boss, then we'll have the ability to upgrade our weapons. But first, you know, we got the bird to take care of. Got some shrouds there.
Doing good.
So I guess while we're waiting, I can go ahead and explain a little bit about this boss. He has this move called Wrecking Ball. Now, just kind of like with that one fight back in part 2, with Lightning having as much healing as possible, or as much health as possible. Now Saz needs to have as much health as possible. This guy has an ability called Wrecking Ball, and what Wrecking Ball will do is pretty much kill you in one shot. So make sure you have as much HP as possible on Saz. That way you can keep him alive much longer. Also, I do believe this is where about the 99 potions I was talking about. But I'm explaining this now because there's really not much between here and there, other than fighting a few enemies to get some treasure. Yeah, right here at the save, this is the save before the boss. So again, I didn't use any shrouds because, again, it's a two-phase fight, kind of like with the bird that we fought. It's a two-phase fight, so shrouds really ain't gonna matter. It depends. I mean, you can use shrouds here, but it is kind of pointless to use them. Because once you beat this fight, and assuming you still have the shrouds on, by the next fight, they're going to disappear anyway. But yeah, start off with Relentless Assault, switch to Try Disaster, after you get the stagger gauge up a little bit. Put them into a stagger mode, and switch back to Relentless Assault. If you take damage, switch to something, to Vanille's Medic.
Bobbing and weaving.
And of course, with Lightning's launch, you can launch him up into the air and do damage that way. Now there is a chance he will use his Wrecking Ball here. I've seen it very, very rare. But he more uses it on the next phase. And the only way to deal with that, like I said, is to make sure that Saz has enough health, or at least strength, to put him in the stagger faster. And then make sure to have a lot of potions as well. That way, not only can Vanille heal, but you can heal as well with potions. When healing, when you're like very, very low on health, and Vanille's not doing much healing, you can just use potions like there. You can use potions while Vanille's healing, and you could gain a good amount of health. You know, everybody's health is a little bit low right now anyways, because it's the beginning of the game.
ya.
the potions are actually going to heal a little bit more anyway. It's much later on that they stop doing a lot of damage. Like very, very little damage. But yeah, it's just the same process, you know. Relentless Assault. Try Disaster. Back to Relentless Assault. Once staggered. And then, only if you have launch, you can be able to keep them airborne. If you don't have launch. Another thing that stagger is very good for is even when an enemy is staggered, that's exactly what it does. It'll stagger the enemy, so when you attack the enemy, it actually will prevent him from doing moves on you. Sometimes it works. It depends on, like, this boss. It works on this boss, but I think later on it does create some problems. But normally it will prevent the enemy from attacking. Once we get further in the game, I'll exactly point out what's going to be good and what's going to be bad.
Changing the play.
But yeah, Smart Bomb is also good as well because of the Neo Saboteur. You can actually probably stun him a little bit with Saboteur and put a debuff on him of some sort. Right now, that's why I didn't really bring it up, because I only got Daze. And I'm not sure really if Daze is going to do anything to him per se. It could prevent him from attacking. I think it works in bosses. And that's what I was talking about with Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball does a lot of damage. But if you do have something called Impale, be using that, because what Impale does is that you'll actually be able to do a lot more damage on that boss. So if you got that, use that as well. I actually was risking this a little bit, well, because only he was staggered and we had an airborne. But I really should have been healing myself a little bit more. I was kind of risking it. I wouldn't risk it if I was you. I would probably use potions. See, after that ended, I was able to switch potions. That fire attack that he does, it actually does like a little bit more damage. So it kind of puts everybody in a it takes a lot of health from everybody, so just make sure to heal from that as well. Even though these fights do seem like they take forever, sometimes it's not that hard to put an enemy or a boss into a stagger, and then to do some damage to him. As you see, it didn't take as long to put him into a stagger. The fights do seem to drag out a little bit long now. But yeah, other than that, just make sure everybody has very good accessories on. Like with Janelle, seeing that I always build her up as a magic user, I'll put something on like Sorcerer's Mark or Shaman's Mark or something like that. Lightning, I kind of built her up with either HP or Strength. So like Brawler's Wristband, same with Saz. I kind of built him up on Strength too, at least in the beginning of the game. Later on, I do kind of switch it up. I have to see what abilities everybody's got before I can determine on exactly what to build them up as what's in game. But we'll get to see more of that once we get to either the, well, yeah, I would say the 5th arc. Once we get to the 5th arc, and everybody starts getting all these roles unlocked, then I can pretty much determine on who's going to be in my party from there on in. So we almost got him here. I think this was the last stagger. But because of Lightning's launch, I was only be able to get hit with the Wrecking Ball, I think once. Yeah, it was about once. I did not mean to do that. I hit the wrong button. Yeah, we got him. But with that, I think I unlocked another shop. Yes. The garage. That's a shop. And then we unlocked the upgrading. The weapon upgrading. Which I do show off once. I don't know if it was in this part or the next part. I'm gonna show off the weapon upgrading once, and then after that you won't see me upgrade any more weapons, but I do show off all the weapons and accessories and all that I'm using on each character. It's not too bad on upgrading. You just pretty much use whatever you can in your inventory. But once we get to weapon upgrading, I'll explain that.
You're open.
Take that!
Yeah, these enemies are basic. Just keep attacking them and keep killing quickly. It was another force fight they put us into. Yeah, I know I have to upgrade Lightning's weapon here soon. And I'm not sure if I did Hope. I don't think I did Hope because I had to do something for Saz as well. Because it's just going to be Saz and Vanille alone for a good while. And they got some pretty tough enemies to go up against. Yeah, there is a treasure right over here by these enemies. Got an analog circuit. And did my paragons. And then got 5 spark plugs. Yeah, zigzag around those enemies and be alright. You should be alright. Got a potion there. You got nectar potions. That guy I will be fighting later. Because he's actually grabbing a treasure that we need. Alright, so here, there's not much here. We got a force fight here. Not too much here. The only thing you need to do is just go up, run into these walls, and that should be it. You can hit the X button to take one of the arms and swipe the enemies away, but it wastes a lot of time. So basically, all you have to do is just run into the enemies, and then run into the walls, and then just get down to the end here, and then we got 2 treasures. Got 13 claws, and thing to upgrade weapons, which I explained that one already.
Hope we find another one of those things.
Got 11 horns. Analog circuit. You had analog circuits for upgrading weapons as well. Alright, so I decided to do my criterion here. Now, I only try to show off only the abilities here, like poison. I think there was something else. Actually, yeah. Like a couple things. Vendetta. That's for, Sentinel. Rosa, that's for, medics, which is very good. Uzura. And then really didn't need to do too much for our lightning. Alright, so that's the guy that I was talking about. There are 3 different enemies in that fight. There was a soldier, a drone that one of them sent out, and then that big guy right there. It's only switching back and forth between slash and burn to double dose. The 2 Ravengers. And just keep going back and forth, have hope heal, and then you should be alright. And that's for upgrading weapons. Alright, so next part, we got the Odin Adolin. I didn't do that here, but we're going to be doing that next part. And that's coming up here in a second. And that's it for part 3. If you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.